Imagine a world glowing under the scorching African sun, where endless golden plains stretch out, dotted with towering acacia trees and life-giving waterholes, the lifeblood of countless species. Here, in the heart of Etosha National Park in Namibia, an epic story unfolds. The story of the Btia brothers, two lion siblings who began as playful cubs, wrestling and pouncing on their mother's tail, completely unaware of the extraordinary destiny awaiting them. Their days were filled with joy, their sharp claws dulled in play fighting, all while unknowingly honing the vital skills that would decide their survival in this harsh world. Their mother, the vigilant guardian, watched every move, teaching them patience and cunning in the art of hunting. Life was not easy, but it was safe as long as they remained under the pride's wing and their mother's protection. But in Etosha, this wild world was ruled by the unforgiving law of nature. Strength alone determined who lived and who fell. The pride to which the brothers belonged was one of several, each carving out its own territory in this vast land. Clashes between coalitions were part of life, but to these two young cubs, such battles were only distant rumbles, like thunderstorms echoing across the golden plains. Yet beneath this surface, calm, powerful forces were quietly stirring. Forces that would uproot the brothers from their pride's safety and cast them into an unknown, unforgiving world. For now, however, they lived in the bliss of cubhood, basking in the sun's warmth under the watchful eyes of the pride. Then came 1995, a year that brought seismic changes. Humans, that unpredictable force, intervened. Park rangers and conservation experts, tasked with maintaining natural balance and saving threatened species, decided to relocate a group of lions to a distant reserve. Among the chosen were the Btia brothers and an older scarred lion marked by battles, named Scarface. They were captured and sedated. The young brothers felt the chilling steel of the cages as they were confined. The familiar comfort of Etosha's grass vanished, replaced by the hum of machinery and the sterile air of captivity. When they awoke, their world had changed. They found themselves in the heart of the Mkuze Reserve, locally called Makuza. This rugged land was alien to them, devoid of the comfort they had once known. Makuza was a wilderness full of dangers, a world utterly unlike Etosha. Lion numbers here were low, but the dominant males who ruled this land were fierce and unwelcoming to strangers. So, the brothers were released into a large holding enclosure to acclimate before facing the true wild. They wandered the boundaries of their enclosure, senses alert, attuned to every sound, inhaling new scents, the buffalo, the antelope, and the distant calls of rival lions. Adventure stirred in their hearts, but they were unprepared for the immense challenge that lay ahead. On November 30th, 1995, their first meal was thrown into the enclosure. A little over a month later, on January 9th, 1996, the gates were opened. Yet the brothers hesitated, standing at the threshold of Makuza's vast wilderness, an alien, unforgiving land. Unlike Etosha, there was no pride to welcome them, no mother's protection. They were alone. The weight of isolation pressed heavily upon them. Instinct pushed them forward, but fear held them back. For days, they lingered near the enclosure's edge, refusing to plunge into the reserve. Every rustle, every distant roar was a chilling reminder of the lurking dangers. Scarface, the older scarred lion who had been relocated with them, had already vanished into the wild, leaving the young brothers to face their fate alone. When they finally stepped across the threshold, their first encounter with the Ophia pride struck like lightning. The dominant males, older and more experienced, pursued them ruthlessly, driving them away from fertile hunting grounds. Exhausted and humiliated, the brothers retreated to the reserve's outskirts, doubt gnawing at them, uncertain if they had the strength to survive. The scars of that clash were not only physical, but etched deep into their spirits. As they scavenged for scraps and avoided conflict, their future clouded in uncertainty. But despair was not the end of their story. In the weeks after their bitter defeat at the hands of the Ophia Pride, the Btia brothers roamed Makuza's fringes, living in the shadows with hunger as their constant companion. Survival meant subsisting on leftovers from greater predators. Yet amidst the darkness, they were not entirely alone. Scarface, the mighty lion, appeared from time to time, like a ghost offering silent reassurance. His dark mane streaked with gray, his body marked by scars, radiated unmatched strength and the confidence of a lion accustomed to dominance. He was no ally, but he was a silent mentor. The brothers watched him intently, studying his every move. How to stalk prey unseen, how to avoid unnecessary battles. When other lions crossed his path, Scarface stood firm, unyielding, teaching them that confidence was the key to victory. By June 1996, when Scarface crossed paths with the Btia brothers again, something had changed. No longer did they flee at the first sign of danger. They stood tall and unleashed a thunderous roar, a bold declaration that their days of retreat were over. Scarface's lessons had seeped into their bones. The cubs shed their fear like old skin. They now moved as young challengers, determined to carve their place in Mkuze's hierarchy. By October 1996, a remarkable transformation had taken place. The brothers were no longer scrawny cubs clinging to Mkuze's fringes. Their muscles had filled out, their frames grown powerful, the marks of lions ready to challenge destiny. Scarface's harsh lessons and the brutal encounters with the Ophia Pride had forged them like fire tempers steel. The great test now awaited. The brothers advanced south, toward the heart of the reserve, the very land from which they had once been driven in disgrace. This time, they did not slink in like thieves in the night. They strode boldly, their deep roars echoing across the plains, announcing their triumphant return. The territory they approached was still under the rule of the Ophia males, the very lions who had humiliated them months earlier. But the Btia brothers were no longer naive cubs. At dusk, beneath the fading sky, the brothers struck like a storm, taking the Ophia males by surprise and shattering their fragile defenses. They attacked with precision and terrifying ferocity, their bond fueling every move. One by one, the Ophia males were overwhelmed. By dawn, the once dominant lions retreated, torn and broken. For the first time, the Btia brothers tasted true victory. The southern lands of Makuza, once forbidden, were theirs. The balance of power had shifted. Crossing this threshold was like being reborn. The brothers shed the insecurities of their cubhood, confronted their deepest fears, and emerged stronger than ever. The reserve's predators began to take notice of the new challengers, the lions who had declared the dawn of a new era, the reign of the Btia brothers. Yet dominance never comes easily. With their hold on the southern territory, the Btia coalition faced incredible trials. Mkuze was unforgiving, and their victory over the Ophia was only the opening chapter. Holding territory would prove a greater challenge than seizing it. In the following months, rival males tested their strength. Lone wanderers and ambitious coalitions prowled the borders, lured by the scent of lionesses and the promise of easy prey. Each day carried the threat of battle. The brothers soon realized that brute force alone would not sustain their rule. Strategy and unwavering unity became their secret weapons. Meanwhile, the buffalo herds, Mkuze's most dangerous prey, offered trials of life and death. The brothers learned to isolate weaker individuals, turning deadly risk into reward. These victories brought not just food, but fame. Lionesses began to take notice of their strength and dominance, drawn to them as unmatched hunters and powerful protectors. But the path was not lined with roses. In December 1996, a ghost from the past emerged. Luan, the one-eyed giant, one of the last survivors of the Ophia Pride, a battle-hardened warrior whose looming presence cast a dark shadow over their new domain. When the inevitable clash came, Luan attacked with precision and savagery, forcing the brothers to retreat. One was badly injured, a true test of their blood bond. The uninjured brother was forced to abandon his wounded sibling, fleeing for his own survival. The injured lion was later found and taken into a holding pen for treatment, separated from his brother for long weeks. It was the greatest weakness in their fragile new reign. The reserve had bared its fangs, and for a moment it seemed the brothers' dream might shatter before it began. Yet the injured lion fought back, healed, and when reunited, the brothers were ready to seek vengeance. 7 months later, in mid-1997, the brothers hunted for Luan, determined to end his threat. The lionesses followed, their growing pride unable to live under the shadow of such a rival. Eventually, they found him near a waterhole, accompanied by 2 lionesses. A brutal fight erupted. This time, the Btia coalition fought with the confidence of survivors. Luan, once feared, was forced into retreat, his dominance broken forever. By driving him out, the brothers cemented their rule over southern Makuza. The lionesses accepted them fully, joining their pride. Their fame spread like wildfire through the reserve. Guides, tourists, and conservationists alike marveled at their imposing size and ferocity. They were no longer outsiders. Mkuze was theirs. Any rival bold enough to trespass would face the wrath of the Btia coalition. By late 1997, the Btia brothers had become living legends. Their confident strides shook Makuze's ground. Lionesses thrived under their protection, and their genes began to spread across the southern plains. The name Btia became a symbol of dominance and resilience. But even at the height of their power, danger lingered. Luan, the one-eyed lion, was not gone. He prowled the edges of their territory, waiting for weakness, his presence a reminder that no reign lasts forever. In December 1997, Luan returned, gaunt but unyielding. The brothers found him near their western border. Despite his weakened state, his ferocity was undiminished. He launched a vicious ambush, targeting the brother he had wounded before. The attack was swift and brutal. The younger brother collapsed near a waterhole, gravely injured, gasping for breath, while his sibling circled protectively. For the second time, they faced the specter of death, knowing that losing one meant losing half their strength. The dominant brother guided the injured sibling to the territory's edge, where days of isolation followed as the wounded lion fought for survival. During this time, the dominant brother patrolled alone. It was a pivotal moment. Though they survived, they had come perilously close to the end. The reserve had taught them a harsh, unforgettable lesson. Even the greatest lions are not immune to time and danger. When the younger brother finally recovered, the two emerged more cautious, yet no less fierce. They had survived Luan's final assault before he vanished from history. The scars he left, both physical and emotional, remained etched in their story, preparing them for the challenges yet to come. Their brief reign was now destined to become a legend of the savannah, one of many tales of lions like the Btia coalition who ruled Africa's throne for years.